fighting games. They can be a true test of skill, seeing who's the top competitor in their field of play. Or they can be a fun distraction to play with your friends. Hey guys, I'm Johnny Major, and with the recent announcement of Capcom Fighting Collection 2, I thought what better way to celebrate than to do a top 6 fighting games that should come back list. So without further ado, here's my video of the top 6 fighting games that should come out. Also, if you have an idea for a fighting game series that should return, leave it in the comment section. I'll be sure to read it, I always do. Also, before I get started, the inspiration for this video came from, it was an hour-long Thorgi's arcade video about fighting games that should come back. So, hey man, give that video some love too. I'll try to remember to leave that in the description. Also, the Marvel Versus series won't be in this list because I already did a video about that, and that'll also be in the description. So without further ado, let's go. Now coming in at number 1 is a fighting game that's like near and dear to my heart. It's relatively new, but I thought it should be on the list anyway, and that's Dragon Ball FighterZ. So Dragon Ball FighterZ was released in, I think, January 2018, and it got great reviews from a lot of people. It's got an insanely good art style that mirrors the vibe of the show so well that almost no other DBZ game can compete with it, but Sparking Zero's coming soon, so my opinion may change on that. You've got a roster of your favorite Dragon Ball Z characters, and they all have a very unique way to play with them. You got your all-arounders, your zoners, your grapplers, people that do all three. It's pretty much basically whatever you want to play, it's in this game. I've sunk so much of my life into this game, and I'm still not tired of it. A lot of people weren't happy with the changes going forward with Season 3, but I still have a good time playing it. The only reason I don't play it now is just because I'm busy with other stuff. But I would love to see like a sequel to this game with like enhanced graphics, you know, a cool story mode, like all that, all the bells and whistles. And even if we can't get a sequel, maybe we could do with another anime franchise. I mean, I'm a big One Piece fan, so hey, why not? I haven't made it all the way through Naruto, but hey, I'll take that too. Anything Arc System Works wants to give me. But yeah, that's first on the list. First thing goes to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Coming in at number 2 on the list should be one that's kind of obvious to everybody. I mean, come on, this one is obvious, but Darkstalkers should come back in some capacity. The characters in this game are like so iconic that one of them at least makes it in a versus game at least once or twice every time. I believe this game and Street Fighter Alpha were some of the first games to have like dial-in combos like light, medium, strong. Don't quote me on that, I don't actually know. And I think what's weird about these games is that there's technically only 2 games in the series. Like I believe it's like the first game and like the second game is just like an enhanced version of the first game. And then like the third game is like a true legit sequel. And then after that it's just over. I know they had teased a new Darkstalkers game a while back. It was like around the time when Street Fighter 4 was doing really well, but they never really went back to that concept. I think the only hang-up that's stopping them from making another Darkstalkers is they probably learned from like the 2010s and trying not to release too many fighting games at once, so I think their main focus right now is Street Fighter 6 and maybe Darkstalkers later, but who knows? But I would love to see how a game like Darkstalkers would look with today's graphics, like kind of like a cartoony, like 2XKO Dragon Ball FighterZ kind of art style. I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, Darkstalkers easily takes the number 2 spot, and I just want to be sure, I want to be clear, this list is in no particular order. It's just things I want to see. And for my number 3 pick, I think it's a crime against humanity that this game never got a sequel. Primal Rage definitely needs a comeback. The cool thing about Primal Rage is that it's such a unique idea. They have a game that's set in a post-apocalyptic world where these giant monsters are seen as gods amongst the people who fight amongst themselves to see who's the strongest. It was like one of the most 90s things on the planet. And it really stood out from everything else because, like, you know, Street Fighter had its hand-drawn thing, Mortal Kombat had like the green screened on actors, but you know, Primal Rage had like stop motion. That was actually very unique for the time. It had fatalities, it had combos, it really had everything you could want. There was actually a sequel planned for this game, but I'll leave it up for Matt McMuscles to explain what happened to that. But I think a modern day Primal Rage would actually be really cool, whether it's like a AAA thing, whether it's like a budget title. I think it could really work. We've definitely weirdly been in a drought of giant monster fighting games, and I feel like that would play really well now. So yeah, number 3, bring Primal Rage back. Speaking of giant monsters, number 4 definitely goes to the Godzilla series. Like I said in Primal Rage, we're going through a weird drought of almost no giant monster fighting games. I know there's the indie game one that I haven't put much attention to, but we need more. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters and Save the Earth are like classic games in my eyes. And Godzilla definitely needs some more video game representation. The last Godzilla game was like in 2014 on the PS4, and I feel like that's a real shame. Especially since the Godzilla brand has been so good lately. Like, bro, Godzilla is going on a run. Like, there's some good movies coming out, and I feel like they're not really hopping on it. But like, seriously, could you imagine Godzilla Destroy All Monsters with like modern day hardware? That would be insane. Just picking up a building and throwing it across the map with modern day hardware, it'd be awesome. Or what if it was a beam struggle? Like, it'd look amazing. And they could even have like daily missions or like just a free roam, destroy the city. I would love anything like that. But yeah, all that said, number 4 goes to Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, or like the Godzilla Save the Earth series. We need them. We need them. So while I was script writing for this, I almost forgot about this, and that would have been a real shame. So number 5 goes to Power Stone. And what's great about this pick is they already announced Power Stone 1 and 2 is coming out, so it'd be great to announce a Power Stone 3 right now. Power Stone is weird because it feels like there's no other fighting game like it on the market. It's like a 3D brawler where you run around, you get to collect items or Power Stones, and when you get all 3, you get to transform into a super version of yourself and do like crazy damage. And there are also special events in the second game where you like move from one stage to another, like you're climbing up, you're like jumping from plane to plane. It's a crazy good time. And it's got this really like unique cool style where it's just like, it feels like early 1920s kind of look. It's really an interesting and cool art design. Like, just having a fun game where you can just like go in and just have fun with your friends and just beat them up would just be awesome. I would love to see something like that. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a super high fidelity game. Like just this really cool, unique art, cartoony like art style, I think would play really well now. Like, you make it $40, $60, online play, rollback netcode with your friends. But yeah, Power Stone 3, that'd be a really good time. I love that. So yeah, Power Stone for number 5. And the last, but definitely not the least, bro, the Tales of Souls and Swords needs to be retold. And I know you know what game I'm talking about.
Transcending history and the world, a tale of soul and swords, eternally retold.
Number 6 goes to Soul Calibur, man. Like, Soul Calibur is so important to like fighting games in general, and just to me personally, I just feel like we shouldn't be going this long without a Soul Calibur game. So if you've never played Soul Calibur, the best way I can describe it is it's Tekken with weapons. You're in this really old time period with like samurais, ninjas, pirates to collect pieces of the sword Soul Calibur or Soul Edge, and every character in the roster kind of has their own reason for doing that. Soul Blade was one of the first fighting games I think I ever played on PS1, and I had a blast doing that. And Soul Calibur 1 is probably one of the greatest games ever made. You know, it put the Dreamcast on the map for a little while, that and Sonic Adventure. And then Soul Calibur 2 goes out and it also becomes one of the best games ever made, so there's that one too. And I'll tell you guys this, and it's a true story, like I played Soul Calibur 2 so much on GameCube that my copy of Soul Calibur 2 literally broke. Like, all my other games worked fine, and Soul Calibur 2 just wouldn't turn on anymore. I played it that much. I feel like that should be a seal of quality in a game as itself if you play it so much that it breaks. Soul Calibur 3 was a game that I rented back in the day. I thought it was pretty cool when I was a kid, but you know, like, I heard it was super broken, but like I was never into the competitive thing of that at the time, so I honestly wouldn't know. I feel like it wasn't until Soul Calibur 4 and like Soul Calibur 5 where Soul Calibur just kind of got this weird word of mouth around it. Like, people were still enjoying the game, but it felt off. Like, adding Yoda to Soul Calibur 4 and he was like so short you couldn't hit him, that was a bit of a weird choice. And then Soul Calibur 5 kind of had the weird time skip, and they had just a whole bunch of... It had a new generation that no one really liked, so it kind of like... It was a good game, like, it was a really good game, but like, it kind of... I feel like that's the kind of turning point for the series. And that's when Soul Calibur 6 kind of came in to kind of steer the ship back in the right direction, but... Feels like, unfortunately, it was a little too late for that, because according to, I think, people around that time were saying Soul Calibur 6 did do well, but just not well enough for the big wiz to want to do another one. And that's a real shame, because right now there are really the only 3D fighters out there is Tekken, and hopefully Virtua Fighter if that comes out, but like, other than that, that's the only two. I just feel like it's just too important to not have Soul Calibur. But yeah, they should definitely give Soul Calibur another chance. And I think that's my list. I think one of my honorable mentions would go to the Def Jam fighting series, because I know it's like, it was supposed to be like a WCW wrestling game, but they kind of just used the license for Def Jam and made a fighting game that way, so I think that would be cool to return. Or maybe like do a Def Jam inspired game. But I don't know if I would want to see a rapper fighting game now. Like, I don't know if I want to see like Lil Uzi Vert versus Ice Spice or something like that. But we could get a Kendrick Lamar versus Drake fight that we wouldn't see in real life. And I think my last honorable mention would be Rumbleverse, because Rumbleverse isn't really like a fighting game per se. It's more of like one of those free-for-all games like Fortnite or something like that. But I will actually talk about that game in a future video, so stay tuned. And that's it for the video, guys. Like I said, drop a fighting game in the comments that you would want to see come back. And yeah, that's it from me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night. I'm out. Peace.